Model railroaders. I like making locos more than I like running them. I've been doing it for 10 years. This is the very first locomotive that I painted. HO scale, Proto 2000. It was undecorated. I turned it into a Sioux. I did it for my son, and I did not have an airbrush at the time. I had a can of white spray paint. I painted the white, and then I masked it off, and then I painted the red with a brush. It didn't turn out very good. So I ended up putting the nose, whoops, that's foam, putting the nose of it, the parts in some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and I did the red over again with a airbrush. But since then, I've learned how to do painting without an airbrush and just using a brush. And, you know, using an airbrush is fine. It takes time. You got to mask it. You got to do it in an enclosed area. You don't want it to chemicals. Acrylic's not as bad as the enamel, but you don't really want the chemicals in the house. And I'm currently working on a Athearn Genesis ST70M that I turned into an ST70I with a Atlas track saw. I cut the groove in there, and I done my first coat with a brush. And of course, it's not perfect. It'll take 2 or 3 coats to get it to where I want it. And while I cut, let me pause. I got a girl that wants in. All right. This is a cheap Textures brush. I get it with the pack of Textures paint at Hobby Lobby for 20 bucks. And this is Textures. Can't find these anymore. They're mostly sold out because Textures quit making it. I don't know why. Potty scale. Water-based, non-toxic acrylic. And it doesn't say if it's gloss or flat. But when you're doing decals, you want to have a gloss paint. For some reason, the decals won't stick to flat. And this being it's black, I'm going to go ahead and gloss coat the part that gets the decal, the CN. Because I have so many locomotives, and I've done so many, I've done about 100. I have every major railroad except for CSX. I'm really not into CSX. I don't have any CSX decals, but I have several CN. So I already had the decals, and like I said, I don't know if I said it or not, I spent $20. Yes, $20 on this. You guys are spending $200 or more on the locomotive with sound. You need to have your heads examined. $20, okay? It does not have any handrails. It's missing parts. I can get the fans later, along with the brake cylinders for the trucks and side frames. They come with side frames. But anyway, I can get some of the parts, and some of the other parts, like the fan for where the generator is and the dynamic brakes. I don't know if I can get that or not. But I have this Proto 2000 off of ST60. I'm going to wait. Once I get the handrails and I have all the other stuff, if I need to, I have to cut around the fan, cut that flat, because when I set this on here, it leaves a gap, and I really don't want to see that gap. So I'm going to wait. If I can't get the actual Genesis, I have a couple Athearn Genesis ST75 Santa Fe's down in the basement. They're just the same chassis, same shell. So I have something to work off of, and I went to Railroad Archives. I got several pictures. And because I have the decals, I'm not spending a lot of money on this. Years ago, I bought this thinking this was CP Red. They sold it on eBay as CP Red. It's not. It's a CN Orange. CN, not CP. So I have a whole box of this. So I could do probably another 20 locos before I run out of paint. So, like I said, yeah, I don't know if this is gloss or flat. I'm going to treat it as a flat. You can look at it. It looks like a flat. It's not glossy. It's a flat. So I'm going to have to gloss coat the whole thing before I put decals on. And you take the cap off. You put some distilled water in the cap. And make sure you start with a wet brush. I've already showed, I'm not going to do it now, but I showed a video back when I did Santa Fe SF23 or SF30B, excuse me. I showed you how I brushed the paint on. And because this is the first coat, sometimes you don't get enough paint everywhere. You do another coat and you kind of emphasize, you put a little more on the darker areas and you get it to flow and blend in so you don't have any paint marks or brush marks, I mean. And because this is all black up above, and I've already done the back, see the different shades, I got to do another coat. And then I will do the interior, an off-white, and that's not quite as critical to make sure that looks decent because you won't see much of it. But anyway, you have this here, you wet the brush, you put it in the paint, wipe it off a little bit, and then you get it to flow. If it looks like it's too thick, get more water and do it again. Make sure you have enough water. Get it to flow. I didn't know how to do this years ago when I did this loco. 10 years ago, I didn't know how to get the paint flowed. You can see my brush marks. That's why I had to redo it. I had to get an airbrush. And I'm also currently working on the other thing is I ran out of solder. Solder is supposed to show up today. I'm currently working on homemade ditch lights. I can't afford to spend several dollars on each locomotive. I have over 250 locomotives. I can't spend a lot of money on each one. I have to do it cheap. Homemade ditch lights. So, and the other thing is I want to give you guys advice. I can't find crazy glue at Walmart. I can't find crazy glue at Menards. This Gorilla Glue takes too long to set up. I'm going to have to check Dollar General. I got to find crazy glue. Crazy glue, you put it on and you have a couple seconds to put your ditch light. See how small these are? And I bought these years ago. I haven't been able to find them on eBay yet, but look how small that LED is. You want a glue that's going to set up in 5 seconds or less. So you put the glue on. You put the glue on the ditch light. Right here's my container of ditch lights, homemade ditch lights. And you carve a groove in the back of it. And you put a little bit of glue on the back of it, and then you put the ditch light on there, making sure that it's facing towards the front through the fiber optic plastic, that clear plastic. They call it fiber optic cable. But make sure it's pointed towards, see, some of these are rough, but I'm going to fix them up. That one's really rough. I do a bunch of them. If they're not up to par, I don't use them. I do like 50 or so. We'll find a nice one. Don't worry about quality control until just before you put the LED on. If it's not good quality, don't put the LED on it because they're too expensive. There's a good one. So you put the LED, I already cut the groove in the back. And the groove in the back, after you put the glue on, preferably crazy glue. This takes 15 minutes or more, depending on the temperature of the room, for it to dry. So you're sitting there. I made a mistake. I did 10 of them. You want to put your ditch light in before the glue dries. You don't want all of them to dry at the same time because you can't put your ditch light in there if it isn't going to stay in place. If it's not going to stay in place, you have to hold it. And while you're holding that one, you have others that are setting up and getting dry. And if it gets dry and you can't get the ditch lights in there, you wasted all that time building your ditch light. Okay? So, I got to find crazy glue. I'm not happy with Gorilla Glue. It's crap as far as I'm concerned. It works good for if you have a mistake, you cut too far with a saw or a razor. I have some glass windows down in the basement on some Atlas. I put the Gorilla Glue on it, and you leave it for a few days, and then you can sand it down and paint it. Let me show you. Like I said, I've done about 100 custom locomotives. Go on YouTube, look up HO Scale Custom Locomotives, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those have been on for a few years. They don't have my latest locomotives on here. But these right here, SF30Cs. You don't know it, but I do have that crazy glue on these windows here. I'm waiting for it to dry. My basement's 55 degrees. I'm waiting for it to dry. And then after, when I get ready to do the lights, I'm not going to do ditch lights on these. I'm going to do the forward light and the reverse light. When I take the shell off and I'm doing the ditch lights, I'm going to sand these windows down and paint them. Let me show you what that looks like after you sand it down and paint it. Here is my custom SF30B that had windows on either side of the large window, and you can't tell that there was a window there. I did this after I got those other two, and this turned out really well. So I'm going to do this, the same process on those two there. But as far as if you want something that you want to put something together right away and you don't want to be holding for 15 minutes, don't buy the Gorilla Glue. See if you can find the crazy glue. Like I said, there's locomotives all over that I've done that are custom that I've painted. Here's 3 right here. I don't know if you consider that custom or not. I painted. I didn't paint it. I weathered it, rusted it, put decals on it. But that one's custom, that one's custom. And then there's that, this is one of my favorites. A B30 AB. Couldn't find the one. I couldn't buy one, so I made it from a B23 BBN. So, like I said, I enjoy building them more than I do running them. If you don't have the skills to do this, start with something cheap. Work your way up. That one I painted. That's a Kato. I made it current with the white stripe and the white face and the decal on the side. You know, there's so many locomotives. I don't have time, and you don't want to sit through all these. But look, here's another one with the canopy over it. That's a custom. 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 Custom. See the think before you cross. I've got so many. The Scale Trains is making this now, but I made this several years ago. It got put into yard service. There's remote control. I gotta go back to it. I don't know if I should have white in there where the latches are. That's another custom loco. And that's custom SD45B. These are pretty much all custom right here. And then I've done a lot of custom locos for my son. He doesn't seem to be interested in it, but let me show you just a group of them real quick. All right, these are Kato SD40-2s. I bought a bunch of shells from somebody on eBay. Nothing more frustrating than taking the time to paint something and not being able to find chassis. You can spend $80 on a chassis with a shell, but you end up with another shell. I'm just trying to find chassis. So I did these for my son. I enjoy painting them after I've done the custom work. I don't get into it as much as some other people. I didn't change the snoot on that. I just left that the original, but I put the bell and did the light. And the single light in the back. Some of the fan ductwork. See how these work is there's a fan up there and it blows it down to the walkway here. This is all ductwork. And it blows air onto the traction motors to cool the traction motors off. You guys, you need to know what stuff is on the locomotive. Just don't play with it. Make a bunch of noise. Another one, I didn't change the snoot on that. I don't do that. The few inches difference is really not that big a deal for me. Okay? So, like I say, I spend more time making locomotives and customizing than I do running them. Running them is fun, but actually sitting down and doing the custom work, that's a Kato. doing the custom work on a locomotive. That's a Kato. After you're done and you end up with something, these are all Katos. Majority of my locomotives are Katos. See, Kato is not prototypical. Kato has their head up their ass. On this, they had this loco here. They have their head up their ass. 6047 does not have a cab light. They made an EMD with a cab light and they gave it the number 6047. You dumb assholes. Why don't you just give it the number 6311? See, I renumbered it. These are both 6047s. I renumbered this one the way it's supposed to be. All right, you dumb idiots. And then I took this number and I made it prototypical the way it's supposed to be. You stupid idiots, Kato. And then this right here. 6001 SD40. They weren't even close. Oh my God, you guys are so stupid. I've ever actually met the guys in northern Chicago there. They're a bunch of pricks. I like the Kato locomotive, but I don't like the people working for Kato. And of course, they don't make locomotives anymore, so thank God for that. But majority of my locomotives are Kato just because I love the quality and love the fact you can take them apart and put them back together. Here's an ST38-2 Kato mid-production with the stupid ditch lights. Well, maybe that's not the hasn't got the ditch lights. But anyway, this is the Kato 63 remote controlled equipped. The only ST38 I have. But I have so many. And this video is getting too long. And see, there's another Kato with a canopy. This is Athearn Genesis, Proto 2000, Atlas, Proto 2000, Proto 2000, Proto 2000. Mostly Katos, but you do find Proto 2000s. After Kato, it's Proto 2000. Then after that, it's Atlas and Genesis. Here is an XCP that I did. I don't know if you can tell, the patched out the CP. I found the shell on eBay. It already had the lift rings. So I went ahead and finished it. All right, it's so much fun. You guys don't realize how much fun it is to do a custom loco. You guys want to buy these locomotives with sound, and you're just wasting your money. So you put it on the tracks, it makes a bunch of noise, and after you're done playing with it, that's it. Do you get any satisfaction of building something? No. You just get to, after a few years, or maybe even less than that, and you guys get done playing with it, and you realize you wasted your money, you get this buyer's remorse. So here's some shells. I didn't paint this one. I didn't paint this one. These are waiting for chassis. But anyway, these I painted these. The only thing with painting a shell is sometimes you wait for an eternity until eternity freezes over before you get a chassis. Maybe I'll never get a chassis for those. Then I've got more down here. The shell's there. Waiting for a chassis. All ST40-2 Katos. All right, so I like painting them. So I just don't like waiting for a chassis. Here's some locomotives I'm currently waiting to put the decoders in. If you can find a real cheap locomotive on eBay, $35. I cut the top off, put on a Walther's GP9, a cheap GP9 to make it prototypical. This is going to be an awesome locomotive when I get the decoder in it. $35. Can you guys beat that? $35. All right. This one right here, I got this one for under $50, and I turned it into a locomotive worth several $100s because there are not very many people who have actually made one of those. And this right here is $50. And this right here, I got this one off of eBay for $40. I'm not done with that yet. It needs BNSF decal. This one, $45 on eBay. This is an RTR Athearn. I thought I was going to repaint it CP, but I decided it looked so nice, and I like the Chicago Northwest. I like that paint. That's a really cool paint job. All right, so I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to put a decoder in it, put lights in it. It's going to be an awesome locomotive. Practically every single Montana rail link that I have on the layout, other than one, that Atlas right there, I cut down a nose, but every other Montana rail link I've repainted. So here's some more locos. Some more Chicago Northwest Kato -9s. All right, so like I said, I have more fun painting them than I do running them. All right, thank you.